Thousands of U.S. military reservists get the word, get ready to go to Bosnia. U.S. regular Army ground troops began landing in Sarajevo today, the first of hundreds due in Bosnia this week. Why are the Americans going to Bosnia? This, says correspondent Bob Simon, is where you'll find the answer. And I on America. DNA, the Pentagon, and their privacy. Tonight, 2 Marines go to war over a few drops of blood.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. The changing of the guard is underway in Sarajevo, and U.S. troops are on the ground. The first NATO troops flew into the battle-scarred Sarajevo airport today to take over from UN peacekeepers and prepare the way for a massive NATO force in Bosnia. The arrivals were communications specialists from Britain, France, and the United States.
We'll be setting up the headquarters for the bigger force to come down.
You know when that'll be?
That's undetermined. Everybody's hoping as soon as possible.
Defense Secretary William Perry says all 20,000 American ground troops will be in Bosnia within 8 weeks after the signing of the peace agreement in Paris, December 14th. National Security Correspondent David Martin has more.
With the Balkan winter setting in, about 700 Americans will fly into Bosnia over the next several days to set up the various headquarters to run the 60,000-man NATO force that will divide the country into 4 sectors. At the same time, 3,000 U.S. troops will move from Germany, where they were loading up today, down to Hungary, which will be the jumping-off point for going into Bosnia.
And they will go from Hungary into Bosnia by road. We will use routes that are currently in use and known to be safe for mines.
These paratroopers based in Italy are likely to be the first American combat troops in Bosnia.
Today we're going to be going over cold weather training. Some of you who've not been around much snow before, it's going to be very unfamiliar to you.
Army units from 13 bases in the U.S., along with 3,800 reservists, are also getting ready to go. Troops on the ground will be backed up by aircraft in Italy and aboard the carrier America, now on its way from the Persian Gulf. Armed opposition could come from Islamic guerrillas who have been fighting on the side of the Bosnian government and who view the U.S. as the great Satan. Secretary Perry has told the Bosnian government those guerrillas must go.
And the Prime Minister reconfirmed to me that the Bosnian government would see that that happened, would take the responsibility for making that happen.
Although U.S. troops will go into Bosnia prepared for combat, Secretary Perry stressed their mission will be to enforce a peace, not fight a war. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Sarajevo has become the symbol of the war in Bosnia and the suffering of its people, but the single worst attack of the combat came not in Sarajevo, but in Tuzla, where the American division is going to be headquartered. CBS News correspondent Bob Simon reports tonight from Tuzla.
It's a somber industrial town, Tuzla. No reason to visit, really. Not much to see.
If the American soldiers want to get to know Tuzla, they don't have to wander around town much. There's this one meeting place where people congregate every day. In this little clearing in a pine forest, the Americans can find out why they're here.
50 people are buried here. It wasn't a cemetery, but the town chose this special place because almost all the dead were teenagers, all killed the same instant by the same Serb shell, 8:20 p.m., May 25th, 1995. It's a close-knit, haunting community, the people who come here every day, with flowers or poems or cigarettes. A lot of gardening is done, and sitting, just keeping company. The children are never alone. My daughter was studying medicine and economics, says the mother of Vanya Kerbegovic. She studied languages, too. She thought she was in the safest place in the world, between school and home. It was National Youth Day, May the 25th. The kids were sitting in cafes in the old town. That's when the shell landed. 71 killed, 150 wounded. One Serb shell. The Americans? It's too late for us, for my daughter, and for me. It's a mixed group of youngsters and mourners, Muslims, Croats, Serbs. They live together here. They lie together now. Our grandson was 2.5. He just crawled out of his mother's lap when the shell landed. One tiny fragment, right in the heart. It didn't get headlines, the massacre, May 25th was the day Serbs took hundreds of UN soldiers hostage. That was the big story. Besides, there were no Western TV crews in this godforsaken town. The children were buried that night. People were afraid there would be more shelling. Spasanya Oba didn't lose a child. She lost 15. She's the biology teacher in the high school. It almost seems as if someone had chosen them, she says, because they were all the best children we had.
Do you think the Americans can make a difference?
They're powerful enough. They can do it. It's not too late. It's never too late for something good. I want to say one big thank you to America from all of us. Tuzla people do not believe it was presidential politics or concern about NATO that finally pushed the American button. They believe it was this day of infamy that convinced Americans to come and save their surviving children. Who's going to tell them that they're wrong? Bob Simon, CBS News, Tuzla.
Still ahead, another growing controversy over U.S. forces overseas. Today, Japan's first look at 3 U.S. servicemen accused of raping an Okinawa schoolgirl. Also coming up, the story of a woman who turned a $5,000 investment into a $20 million legacy for a school she never attended.
You build a razor with a precision groove to help the Norelco lift and cut system shave closer than ever before. And what do you get? The Norelco razor, our closest shave ever.
If you want relief from minor arthritis pain, turn up the heat on arthritis. Just minutes after applying Ultra Strength Bengay, you can actually see the heat. It's the strongest, most advanced Bengay ever, with the heating power of 3 pain relievers. So turn up the heat on arthritis.
I'm 62. Can I still help prevent osteoporosis?
It's never too late for Caltrate. Caltrate Plus has the extra calcium you need, plus 6 nutrients essential for healthy bones, whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
You ready?
Yes. Tell me what you smell.
I have no idea.
You're really stuffed.
Yes.
I have a nasal spray I want to give you. Now what do you smell?
That's an orange.
You got it.
Curious about the product?
Dristan. Dristan 12-hour nasal spray.
Man, I can breathe.
Changes at the top of General Motors. GM said today that John Smale is stepping down as chairman 3 years after he got the job in a boardroom coup. Smale will be succeeded by GM's president, Jack Smith. Smith takes over the world's biggest automobile company as demand for new cars is softening. That's just one sign the U.S. economy may be slowing down a bit. As CBS News economics correspondent Ray Brady tells us, it's not the only one. Ray?
Dan, that's right. Economists are beginning to think hard about some of the new figures coming out on the economy. For example, GM's light truck sales are way down, and the sale of existing homes is down even though mortgage rates are low. The blunt truth is consumers are tapped out. Their installment debt, including credit cards and auto loans, is up 30% over just the past 2 years. So now consumers aren't spending. Latest figures show sales at retailers went up less than a measly 3%, a very poor showing. Even the sale of personal computers, which stores figure to be a big winner, seems to be slowing down. And while stores that cater to the well-off, Saks and Tiffany's, are doing fine, at most other retailers it's discount, discount, discount. And while many Americans may want to see a balanced federal budget, there's another side to that coin. Washington, D.C.'s in a recession. Reason? Cuts in federal and local spending. What's it all add up to? Not to a recession for most of the country, but a slowing, sluggish economy. Still, there's one bright spot. Look for the Federal Reserve to come up with an early holiday gift, a cut in interest rates to perk things up the week before Christmas. Dan?
Ray Brady in his office. This does not figure to be a very joyful holiday season for thousands of United Auto workers. They're still waiting tonight to be called back to work at Caterpillar. Over the weekend, the union called off a bitter and what turned out to be futile 17-month strike, during which Caterpillar kept running with replacement workers and union defectors. The French government said tonight it will not back down in a confrontation with striking public employees. Union workers have been on strike for 11 days, shutting down French trains, buses, subways, and the post office. Students have joined the protest against cuts in social spending. Straight ahead, Eye on America, a blood feud involving 2 U.S. Marines who say they're risking court-martial to fight for their right to privacy and yours.
vegetables are about to be perfectly steamed, like food has never been steamed before, in the Black & Decker Handy Steamer. Because deliciously steamed food requires perfect timing.
You know, no matter how many times I take a Carnival cruise, I never get bored. I always get excited about the fabulous food. The islands are endlessly fascinating, and the shows are always a thrill. The pleasures of a Carnival cruise just never get old.
That's right, Kathy. This cruise makes me feel 10 years younger.
Betty?
Okay, 20.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
I haven't had this much fun in decades.
Come celebrate the Olive Garden's Tuscan Feast. Mediterranean garlic shrimp, chicken and spinach manicotti, and sirloin steak grilled Tuscan style. With free soup or salad and breadsticks. The Tuscan Feast, just $11.95, only at the Olive Garden.
Denture wearers don't let anything keep you from getting close, especially denture odor. Get Polident. It's loaded with minty mouthwash ingredients. It controls denture odor and cleans tough stains in just 5 minutes. Get Polident fresh and granddaughter close.
Oh, well, I'm the kind of light for your holiday list. I'll help you in so many ways. I'd make the perfect gift, 'cause I'm the snake light from Black & Decker. I get around, I'm the snake light.
Cut down our tree and plop it in the middle of New York City? No way, said the good sisters. But that didn't stop Guy Torsiglieri. For 10 years, he kept trying.
And they kind of laugh when we show up, and it's them again, and no, you can't have our tree.
Till now. So what changed the sisters' minds? The inside story of the great Christmas tree chase, tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
The Oklahoma City bombing trial has a new judge, and he is not from Oklahoma. U.S. District Judge Richard Maish of Colorado was named today to replace Oklahoma's Judge Wayne Alley. The defense fought successfully for the removal of Judge Alley, whose office was damaged in the bombing. 3 American servicemen went before a Japanese court today to defend themselves in a rape case that has become an international issue. Family members also traveled to plead with the court in Okinawa. Correspondent Barry Peterson reports.
The Japanese got their first look today at the 3 U.S. servicemen accused of raping a 12-year-old schoolgirl. One man has confessed to the rape, but the other 2 insist they only helped in the abduction. One of those 2, Marine PFC Rodrigo Harp, took the stand and claimed that U.S. military interrogators tried to coerce him into also pleading guilty to the rape. Because, said Harp, that's what the Japanese would like to hear. Harp's wife was among family members of the accused who had flown in from the United States. She also took the stand. I'm very sorry, she said. I'd like to apologize to the Japanese girl, to her mother and father, to the people of Japan. In Japan, where there are no jury trials, an apology is a sign of remorse and can get a sentence reduced. But the families say they also feel for the victim.
And they can understand the hurt, the pain, and the anguish that that family is going through. They also are experiencing some of the same things.
And most of the 47,000 American troops in Japan know that because of this rape case, they're all being painted in an ever darker light, and they don't like it.
The vast majority of us act very gentlemanly.
But too many American soldiers don't. And the Japanese say, here's more proof. A recent brawl among American servicemen in a park near a U.S. base. For the U.S. military, things are going from bad to worse. There's another rape case in Okinawa. A woman who claims she was assaulted by a foreigner. Police suspect it was an American serviceman. Every new incident is just fresh ammunition for those who want the Americans kicked out. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Tokyo.
American forces heading into Bosnia and eventually all U.S. armed forces must pay a visit to the medic to give blood samples. Purpose, the Defense Department wants a foolproof file of genetic dog tags so there will never be any more unknown soldiers among the dead. But 2 U.S. Marines are refusing to bare their arms to give blood, objecting to what the military may do with their DNA if they don't die. Scott Pelley has tonight's Eye on America.
Assume the alert. On a Marine base at Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, the battle line is drawn.
You enlisted in the Marine Corps. You are in the order-taking business.
Targets!
Nowhere when I signed that contract do I ever recollect reading that I surrendered constitutional rights.
Joe Volosky and John Mayfield are Marines facing court-martial for refusing an order. Refusing to shed blood for their country. The blood, now required from everyone in uniform, is for the military's new DNA registry, a databank storing genetic information. Director, Dr. Victor Whedon.
It is our hope that the DNA registry will make the tomb of the unknown a thing of the past.
The purpose of the registry is to positively identify America's dead in all future wars. It would be possible to match any body part to the DNA on file.
Reasonable, but consider the potential in that blood. DNA is an exact genetic blueprint. It could one day reveal almost everything about a person, including whether they might be predisposed to anything from cancer to schizophrenia.
The Pentagon DNA Bank could contain 25 million samples to be held 75 years. Critics worry the information could be used to deny jobs or benefits to people based on what's in their genetic code. Dr. Arthur Kaplan is an authority on the ethics of genetics.
Will your next employer be able to look in there and say, I don't want to hire this person because they might get diabetes or they might get Alzheimer's and cost us a lot of money?
These specimens are not to be used for anything other than human remains identification.
But Whedon admits that's current Pentagon policy, not law.
What's to prevent a subsequent Secretary of Defense under another administration to change his mind about the privacy?
The Secretariat can make different policy decisions at different times, but you have to realize that there's a sensitivity to this repository.
Does that make you feel better?
No, because remember the military's past track record about the Gulf War syndrome or Agent Orange in the Vietnam era or in the 40s and 50s with nuclear radiation experiments.
Their fears are not unfounded. In the 1970s, the Air Force, Navy, and Army all discriminated against recruits who were healthy but who carried one gene for sickle cell anemia. The two Marines also have filed suit against the military, arguing the DNA registry violates their constitutional right against unreasonable search. Attorney Eric Seitz.
So if they prevail in this case, and they're able to obtain a determination that the government can engage in this kind of process, that will unfortunately open the doors for other governmental agencies to do the same thing.
And to say that the government might someday do something bad is to say, I have no trust in the government. And at some point, you've got to trust the government.
The two corporals are facing up to 6 months in the brig.
What I foresee is that this is something that will progress to the point where it affects not just military, but everyone.
Marines like to say they are the first to fight. This time, the Corps has fired the opening volley in a landmark battle over genetic privacy, one that may redefine the rights of all Americans. In Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, I'm Scott Pelley for Eye on America.
Britain's Queen Mother walked out of the hospital today just 18 days after surgery for a hip replacement. The Queen Mother is 95, one of the oldest people ever to undergo the hip operation. Doctors say her general health is excellent.
Something's been overlooked in the design of women's razors. The woman. But there's one razor that adjusts to your legs and underarms, even bikini line. Norelco's Silhouette, the first razor designed to shave a woman where a woman shaves.
Why just decorate when you can deck the halls? Why just make dessert when you can make magic? Cool Whip has 2 grams of fat. 2 merry little grams. So why live a little when you can live a lot?
I just wasn't satisfied with how my headache medicine was working. Then my doctor told me about a medicine called Arudis.
Of all the prescription pain medicines, 82% of doctors surveyed have prescribed Arudis, and now it's available in a non-prescription strength. Potent new Arudis KT, just 25 milligrams is as effective as 400 milligrams of Motrin IB, 440 of Aleve, or 1,000 milligrams of extra-strength Tylenol.
Now I've got Arudis KT.
New Arudis KT, the potent medicine for pain.
When we heard there's a hot cereal with crunch, we said great. But how? Then we tried grape nuts cooked hot. Just add milk and pop it in the microwave.
60 seconds for a little crunch.
I want a big crunch.
30 seconds for a big crunch.
We thought all hot cereals were the same.
Mushy.
Yeah.
But not grape nuts cooked hot. All that warm goodness plus that hearty, nutty crunch make it taste so different, so good, so...
Now Mom's getting mushy.
Yeah.
Discover Grape Nut cereal cooked hot. Finally, a hot cereal with crunch.
Finally, great popcorn from your microwave.
Our popcorn.
Presto Power Pop Microwave Multi-Popper. Pops virtually every kernel. Pop with oil, pop without oil. Nothing pops like Power Pop. That's why it's endorsed by Orville Redenbacher. From Presto, here's a great big idea.
Salad shooter.
From Presto, professional salad shooter slicer shredder. Big capacity and power. Special blades to point and slice thick, slice thin, shred, even ripple cut. Right where you want.
Salad shooter.
From Presto.
Who's watching the kids when you can't?
Your 3 kids just walked out with a perfect stranger.
A show every parent must see. 48 Hours, Thursday.
The impact of President Clinton's commitment of U.S. troops to Bosnia was evident today on the presidential campaign trail. Case in point, Senate Republican leader and GOP front-running candidate Bob Dole. Again today, Dole is not only out front, he is virtually alone in supporting the president in saying that his Republican rivals are putting politics ahead of the morale of the troops. More about it from correspondent Phil Jones.
Not one American soldier should have to die in Bosnia.
On Iowa and New Hampshire radio, one GOP presidential candidate is attempting to turn Bosnia into a campaign issue.
I'm Pat Buchanan. Friends, Bill Clinton is about to send 20,000 U.S. troops into that blood-soaked Balkan peninsula.
This is clearly an issue that's dividing Republicans and Republican presidential candidates.
If Bob Dole says, I endorse the president's decision to send troops to Bosnia, then he and I disagree.
With polls showing a majority of Americans opposed to sending troops to Bosnia, Buchanan, Senator Phil Gramm, and former Tennessee Governor Lamar Alexander now think they have an issue that sets them apart from Senator Dole.
I'm not going to send troops to Bosnia. I'm going to draw a bright line of distinction between myself and Bill Clinton. Bob Dole's got to decide which side he's on.
Gramm, Alexander, Buchanan, what kind of message are they sending?
They're sending a short-term political message that let's jump on Bob Dole. Let's forget about everything. Let's make this a political decision.
I think anyone who presumes to be the President of the United States ought to take a stand and take a lead when the President is about to commit a historic folly.
Why does he feel obligated to say yes to anything?
I think anybody running for president, let's put it that way, who's looked at the Constitution, who knows the history of Ronald Reagan's experience and George Bush and others, better be very careful, because we are the United States of America. We are the one super force in the world. We are the superpower.
Let's say, for example, the troops go, nothing happens, no injuries, nobody killed. Hey, it looks like it was a pretty good decision. Does Bob Dole benefit in the presidential race?
He could.
And could you be hurt?
Yes. I would not be willing to send one of my own sons. How can I vote to send somebody else's son?
Dole calls this his roll of the dice. But at least this time, he can't be accused of pandering to conservatives and saying something he really doesn't believe. Phil Jones, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Still ahead, you know the saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Well, this time, it wasn't, and big time.
How many times I told my dad to see a doctor. He was stubborn. But the pain in his stomach just wouldn't go away. He had to go. You should have seen the relief on his face when the doctor said Mylanta.
Mylanta is fast, soothing relief. In fact, even with all the new heartburn medicines available today, doctors recommend Mylanta most for heartburn and acid indigestion.
My doctor said Mylanta.
Because the quality care standards take care of customers more than just fixing a car. Can you describe the noise? It's a little. It's about listening, it's about communication. It's about getting the customer more involved. We'll call you about 10:30, 11. How many miles do you have on the car? You have to ask the right questions. You have to let them know that you're committed. We want you to be a customer for life. Your keys. And we thank you very much for doing business with us.
Quality care people, quality care standards at your Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealer.
Oh, you're cheering.
Yeah, it's true. People prefer the taste of Crispix Mix to the usual party mix. But does that really make a difference?
Look at the time.
I've got to get to my aerobics class.
Right, she's got a headache.
Crispix Mix has a special recipe, that unique Crispix cereal look.
More Crispix Mix?
And that exceptional taste guests prefer. So this year, make Kellogg's Crispix Mix and party on.
These vegetables are about to be perfectly steamed, like food has never been steamed before, in the Black & Decker Handy Steamer. Because deliciously steamed food requires perfect timing.
Well, the White House is all decked out for the holidays. First Lady Hillary Clinton today gave cameras a tour, which included an 18-foot Christmas tree in the Blue Room and a replica of Mrs. Clinton's childhood home in the Chicago suburbs. This one made of gingerbread. In this holiday season of contemplation and giving to others, an unusual story tonight of a most unlikely benefactor and a reluctant and disbelieving recipient. At the heart of it, a frustrated Internal Revenue Service agent. Richard Threlkeld has the story of a woman who used her business savvy to turn a few $1,000s in the stock market into a fortune.
Ann Scheiber was one of the best accountants in the Internal Revenue Service, but she never got a promotion, and when she retired in 1944, she had just $5,000 in savings. She lived the past half-century in a New York apartment a few miles from Yeshiva University, which she'd never attended. She had no friends or family to speak of, but she had a secret dream about yeshiva, and she loved to play the stock market. She invested wisely, blue chips mostly, and held on to them through bust and boom.
This was her great interest, was her securities account.
When Ann Scheiber died this year at age 101, she'd turned that $5,000 into $22 million, and she gave most all of it to yeshiva.
I thought the whole thing was a joke, a misplaced one, but a joke. And then when I discovered that it was real, naturally I flew through the ceiling and I'm still on cloud 9.
The money will set up a scholarship fund for women students at yeshiva, and they're on cloud 9 too.
It's a lot of money. It's very exciting for such a large sum of money to be donated.
I was amazed. It's unbelievable.
Not so unbelievable when you understand Ann Scheiber's dream, which she explained in a handwritten letter to the university.
And she felt, and it stands to reason that what happened in those years, that she was passed over because she was Jewish and because she was a woman. And she decided that she was going to make up for it after she passed away, and she did.
One other thing, because Yeshiva University is a charitable institution, it won't have to pay a single cent in income taxes on that $22 million. But of course, Ann Scheiber could have told you that. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, New York.
Smart and generous lady, part of our world tonight. Tomorrow on CBS This Morning, Scott O'Grady, the U.S. airman rescued from Bosnia, will talk about what U.S. troops face there. We'll be back tomorrow night with the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
CBS News. Have you seen your country today?
Getting quite a colorful reputation, I must say, for